Spring's just around the corner now, so it's time to start getting things sorted and ready to go. Today I'm going to show this little Victa here a bit of love. I've never really spent a lot of time on this mower as far as looking after it, and it's probably about time that I start doing it. I picked it up a couple of years ago for not a lot of money. I think I paid about 20 or 30 bucks for it, and it has to be probably one of the most important machines in my fleet, basically because this is my go-to mower when it comes to scalping and scalp renovations. This mower here has the ability to cut down to basically nothing. It will go down to dirt level, which for a couch lawn or a cockatoo lawn or something like that is invaluable. It really is. So today we're just going to show it a bit of love. So obviously we'll do basic things with it, because being a two-stroke machine there isn't a lot to actually do. So obviously do plug. We're going to have a look at, just going to clean out the carburetor over here. I've got a new primer plate and O-ring seal for that there, because this primer's not working as well as it should, therefore starting is a little bit tricky. And we'll just check over it. We'll put new blades on it because they are absolutely buggered. I'll show you those now actually. I don't know if you can see under there, but yeah, absolutely stuffed, but given the work it does, I'm not surprised. First off, we'll just simply take this old spark plug here out. It's probably still quite okay, but I mean, for the sake of a couple of dollars, we'll do the job. We'll get it all done right. So we'll just leave it out for now because we're going to do other jobs, and you can see there it's actually quite cruddy. So we'll just replace it with a new one. But as I said, for now we'll just keep that out, and we'll move on to the fuel system over here. So basically, this screw here that I'm undoing now, it's also the jet, or the main jet. So yep, that's it, and it's also got a little bit of mesh there. So look, it all looks pretty good to me. Okay, so a little bit of crud, tiny little bit of garbage in there, but that's okay. Now, don't know where you can see this. When we install these, this is our little float here, and our float needle is the red one just inside there. Hope you can see that there, and it's the flat end or the rounded end that comes out, and the pointy end there is what goes in and shuts off the fuel when the level's right. So all we'll do, we'll just rip off that old O-ring there. We'll dispose of those where we retain our little float needle, we retain our float, and we retain our jet. So it's our new replacement primer plate. So simply O-ring goes around the outside, obviously. Nice tight seal like that. Put our float needle in. There's two holes, and you want the hole with a little bit of brass in there. The other one's a closed up one. So we put our pointy end in there. It's a bit hard with these gloves on. There we go. Righto. And you'll notice on this side here, there's directional arrows. So obviously primer on the right hand side when it's in, nothing like this, not like that, dead flat. That way this float works correctly. We've got our primer positioned right, we've got our little arrow correctly positioned, so now all we do, we stick our main jet screw back in and do him up. Beautiful. Righto, well this poor mower over the last 12 months has copped some serious use, and probably could be argued serious abuse, and nothing becomes more obvious than these blades. So I'll just show you here now. And it's worth noting actually, on these Victa utility style mowers, they run a different blade to what you use for a Victa with a catcher on it. So they're more of a slasher style blade. And if I put that against that, it just shows you how much of that blade is worn out. Oh, absolutely smoked. So that's the right way there. And it's absolutely worn a point. But that's all the work I've been doing with it, with the shaving down to dirt and putting this under tremendous strain, but it does a great job and I'd really be lost without it. So we better give him some new blades. You'll see here, this plate has a provision for 4 blades. This is actually a mulching disc, so these two here are actually slightly offset. So if I was to run 4 blades on this mower, these blades would be at a slightly different height to these ones. So I actually choose to run the blades on what would be the lower bits, in other words closer to the ground, where these ones are a little bit recessed and they would be a higher height of cut if I was running just 2 there. So I always run 2 on these ones here. So because this machine is actually a 2-stroke, you can actually tilt it or turn it on any direction you want. There's no worries about oil running anywhere or anything like that, so it wouldn't matter which way you turn it, you're not going to do any damage. Now removing these plates can be a little bit tricky. We'll see how we go. Righto, too easy, so we'll be able to whip that off now. Swap them blades over. Righto, so yep, I think they're done. I think they're well and truly done. They've done a good job. So about the only thing I haven't actually bought to replace this occasion, and it's probably more of an oversight than anything, was actually the air filter in these. Now, it's just a very simple paper cartridge style air filter. There's no oiling to this, there's no nothing like that. Look, these really, if you clean them out with an air gun, they're fine for a while, unless they've been wet and they're all, I guess, soft and mushy. This one's still quite rigid and firm, so today we'll just give it a blowout. Okay, so pretty much the last thing all we've got left to do now is to chuck our new spark plug in. Now, these days, pretty much all spark plugs leave the factory with the right gap setting. If you really want to check it, you can check it. For the Victa 2-stroke here, it's 0.63 millimeters or 0.025 inches. So it's fitting in well. So she's correctly gapped. So we'll just stick him in. You don't need to tighten these things right up. You don't need to be He-Man strength. Just a little bit harder than hand tight is well and truly sufficient. Now, just a few tips and tricks. If you're in the market for one of these, not too much goes wrong with them, providing they've always had 2-stroke fuel, and you're going to know that pretty quick because the motor will be seized if it hasn't. Basically, if you've got priming issues or fuel issues, first port of call is always going to be your primer plate. So replace one of those. For the few dollars it's going to cost you of an O-ring. Always flush out your tank, spark plug, fresh fuel, and 90% of the time one of these will start up straight away. So really simple motor, really strong, really durable. As I said, this one hasn't run for a couple of months now, so I'll just check if it's got fuel in it. We'll put some fuel in it and see if it's any easier now to start than what it was before, and I hope, fingers crossed, that it will be. Righto, there's a little bit in there, so hopefully it'll probably give us a big cloud of smoke, but we'll see how we go. Some of these also have a press 3 times only. Yeah, don't worry about that, especially first off, just give it a good few pumps and she should go. Should. I promise you that wasn't staged. So I really didn't think it'd go first go, but it did. So a huge improvement with those few little things. Probably took me 10 or 15 minutes to swap all that stuff out, and we're ready to roll for another season of scalping and renovation. So anyway guys, look, only a short one this week. I hope you've enjoyed the episode. Have a good weekend. We'll see you here next time on the Aussie Lawn.